And we're live. Hey, everybody. My name is Pasha. Welcome to the Agency Operators Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Andrew Pernia, who's the head of marketing at Share It Studio. Thank you so much for joining, Andrew. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Pasha. I'm good. Excited to sharing with all you some amazing hacks that we have for you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for filling in. I know that Rafael, the CEO, was unavailable last minute. So I appreciate you hopping on so we can keep the scheduled time. And I was actually on a webinar with Rafael yesterday, and he shared a really great hack. I know that a lot of people really liked it from what I heard after from Nick, who was actually hosting that webinar, and you guys were sharing some cool, like super long presentation. Actually, even though it was like limited to 5 minutes, I think the presentation could have gone on for like an hour. So maybe it was taken from something that you did present or you will present. um, yeah, how was it hard to put that together because it was really detailed?
Yes, actually, I was the mind behind the hack. It was actually a compilation of some hacks. So what we wanted to, to bring to the table to the audience was the importance of how you can leverage other languages inside the United States and how it's almost like an untapped market. There are many sellers we've seen it like for 90% of our clients we're not really targeting keywords in Spanish, and when we do the keyword research, and by the way we love to use Jungle Scout for for our keyword research, we see that there are a lot of potential for keywords in Spanish, and it's like, hey, why you're not targeting this? And there are so many things that you can use Spanish for your listing, for your advertising, and that's what we wanted to compile all those hacks that we have learned. How to use Spanish here there for the to the audience. So that's why it was too long, because we also wanted to give like a step by step on how to do it, but we also knew that the presentation was going to be delivered to the audience. And hey, click here on the comments, or if you want this presentation, we're also very happy to give it to you. You can write to me at media@sharestudio.com as well, and I'll be very happy to answer your questions too.
Awesome. Yeah, if my memory is correct, I think it was like 13,000 monthly search volume for candy, children's candy, right? And then it was like dulces para fiestas
Infantiles.
infantiles. Yeah. And so it's like you
Yes,
guys were talking about how it's like a completely different meaning,
it
because it's not
is.
just children's candy, right? It's like specifically sweets for like an event, right? For like a children's event, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, your
So,
Spanish is very good.
oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
I've traveled to Colombia a bunch of times, so it's actually not very good, but basic, very basic. But I
Good
was very
pronunciation. Well,
Thank you. Yeah, I was very impressed with that. Actually, to see it's a significant volume. Like you don't really think about it, but in the U.S., so many people are searching in Spanish, and I know personally a handful of friends that, like their parents, for example, they're immigrants, and so the people that I know, maybe their English is really good, but their parents are not that great, so they're searching for everything in Spanish. And so they're Amazon users, and so you don't really think about that, but it's a huge untapped market that's just right under your nose. So very cool.
absolutely. Absolutely, yes. And this thing that we're gonna tell you right now, it's very important that you take it into consideration, because it's one of the hacks that we're going to share today for the A plus content, and it's how you can use. And many people don't know this. We're surprised, like how the potential that you can use it, and many people don't even know how that there are some people who are navigating in Spanish, and there's something in the A plus content behind the search center that you can do to literally translate your A plus content and show it right there when people are searching. You know that you have options for preferred language, and there are many people. There are two in the United States, because those are the most popular. And you have it in Spanish, and you can have a completely translated version by yourself by professionals that will show up that version. That's something that is not available for the images, but it is available for the A plus content. And That's something that you should definitely try. So yes, Pasha, thank you for for this invitation. I just wanted to give a little bit of introduction of Share Studio too, so
Yeah.
people have a little bit more context.
I wanted to actually get into that because we started getting into the meat of the conversation, and I'm like, wait, I want to hear a little bit about you and your story, because obviously you guys, you're specialized in the content, and content is super important when it comes to Amazon, and it's like that's something that we do, so we speak the same language, but it's very niche at the same time to just like narrow in on that. And I know you guys have done so many hundreds and hundreds of brands at this point that you've launched, so you see a lot of different data, a lot of different results. I'm sure you're tracking conversion rate changes, and also you guys do content for other types of placements, right? For like advertising placements. Now Amazon is offering through DSP all kinds of like TV placements. So definitely curious, how did you end up as the head of marketing at Shared Studio? Tell me a little bit about your story and just kind of like where you started.
Yes. So it all started 3 years ago. I was, well, before I had 5 years of experience right now in marketing, especially data driven marketing. So one of the key parts that really one that Share Studio was really looking for to drive itself apart was how to leverage the most data possible, everything of the data that you can use to incorporate it to the systems that we currently have that of course have evolved a lot throughout the years. But right now, so basically they called me, like, hey, we have this project. I was working in the e-commerce space for Spotify, for other brands, with especially with the advertising part, Facebook ads, Google ads. They didn't know a lot about Amazon. They didn't know a lot about this world. So they called me like, hey, you want to help us for that? And I saw this opportunity. I really like this product. I really like the ambition of Rafael, who is our CEO, Mari, who is our vice president, and I got in love with the idea of helping Amazon sellers since they are small sellers, or people who are actually, you know, sometimes it's like a second job. Sometimes it's the dream to become your own boss and to have another income to sustain your family too. So those are the things that really got me in love with the project, and here I am. I collaborated with them on creating the system that we currently use for for creating the proposals for the client, especially the proposals, the data part, right? Like how to analyze all the data that you can use on your Sales Central to create a good content that really targets what your customers need. So that's how I got here. For those who don't know, Share Studio is an Amazon marketing agency that's specializing in listing optimization and listing creation. We have been doing this for more than 6 years now. And Rafael is a filmmaker himself, and he's been in this industry for 15 years. So we have all this experience. We put all that together, and we have helped so far more than 500, 200 clients and 500 listings to achieve their goals of increasing their conversion rate. We're also verified partners of Amazon Ads, Walmart, Jungle Scout, and yes, we have also won many awards in the industry, three Telly awards and one amazing listing competition. So here we are, very happy to also help you and deliver all the secrets that we have learned throughout the years.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That's very exciting. Um, with those awards, I'm curious, is it something that they find you, or they're just hosting the award and you're submitting what you've put together, and they're like just judging it according to, who did what and how effective is it? And, I'm curious on the criteria for that.
Yes. So for the first awards, it was for the Tilly Awards, it was a submission part. For the Amazon listing competition, it was an invite only competition. It
Mm,
was hosted by Bigfoot and Kevin King. Kevin King is a very well renowned person in the industry and a very friend of us too. And he invited us along with other Amazon marketing agencies that specialize specifically in Amazon. That's why it's called the Amazing Listing. the Tele Awards, it was marketing in general, but for the Amazing Listen, it was specifically for Amazon, and we worked for a brand called Gymshark, and we created one video. I'm very happy to share it with you. Let me just give me a second while I tell you. But it was like as I'm saying, it was an invite only, and yeah, we are very happy that we won those competitions, and we are also applying for other competitions too to see if we can also incorporate more awards to our to our award
To your
list.
portfolio, yeah, to your award
To-
portfolio. Very
yes.
cool. Very cool. Okay. So I think we can dive in. There's going to be some people who are listening who definitely have Amazon accounts, or some people that manage other people's Amazon accounts, or people who are just getting into e-commerce. So I guess if we start at a high level, what would be the primary thing that you would say is like the really, really important stuff when it comes to creating content that converts well? Because we're doing digital marketing. It's not the same type of experience as when you walk into a store and you're looking at a shelf and a package. Like so many people right now, they make their purchasing decisions based on how nice the packaging looks. To me, that's kind of funny because you're not really judging any real quality measures. You're just looking at like somebody's like designer. You've hired a designer and they're really smart and creative, and so you're like, okay, well, they made a good hiring decision, so that's why I'm going to buy this product. Then you sprinkle on top a little bit of like symbols that represent certifications or something like that, and that really pushes you to want to buy it, and justifies the higher price. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's just how people, that's the purchasing pathway. So on the digital landscape, it's a little different because you don't have the ability to make a decision like by holding it. You have to kind of just, everything is on the same playing field. And there's also way more options. So it's a little different, and it's kind of harder in that way to stand out with content, with advertising in general. So we are always looking for ways to get ahead, and we want to launch in the right way. We want to be able to optimize continuously in the right way. So, what are the things that you guys would say for somebody looking to make improvements or just launch that would really be impactful from day one?
Yes, you are absolutely right. Actually, here at your studio, we have a saying. We always say that the content is listening, because everything that you have, just think about it. Like if you're in a store, in a physical store, you can touch the product, you can smell the product, you have all the five sense. When you're buying on Amazon, all you have are the images. Like
Hmm.
all you have are the visual sense that you can use to determine whether you like the product or not.
Yeah.
So it's very important that your images first represent the quality of your product too. That the images also look good, not just that they're just simple images, because that will say is like, hey, sometimes all they have is all the branding that they have unconsciously. So they can also have the pictures, and they can determine like, hey, this is a product, a quality product, based on how the images look. But that's not enough, of course, and that's why I'm here to tell you exactly what are the things that you have to look at when you're going to determine what content you're going to make, what words you're going to use, because that's really important. But the message that you're gonna be delivering. So first thing first, we always have to start with the most important and central part here, and most sellers forget about this. Most do, like, and it's the your buyer persona. Okay, so it all starts with your buyer persona, right? You have to understand who it is, what, and you have that data too under Seller Central. If you are an Amazon seller, first you have to be brand registry. If you're not brand registry, like, you're missing on a lot of potential and a lot of data too. And one of that data is essentially the brand analytics that you have, and the demographics part that you're gonna have, especially when you're already selling. When you are only launching, it's a little bit more difficult, and it's more about the intuition and the other data that you can find. But when you're already starting and you have some data, you, if you want to optimize your listing, there's where you will have to start. And you have to start not only analyzing that, but here's the tricky part. So many people see, well, okay, so let's see what the data of the last quarter was. Oh, so it was mostly men, it was mostly women, it was mostly, older people, married people, etc. So that's a little bit of the wrong way to do this, because you have to look throughout a year, especially because it can change. And I'm going to give an example. We had a client called Roslyn. He was selling minimalist wallets, and it's kind of
Hmm. Like a
a
clip.
wallet that, yeah. So he was like the second place in the industry, and he was trying to beat his competitor. So when we analyzed the data, we saw some patterns that was very curious. So in December, the first time that we analyzed his data, his main buyer persona, who would you think would be like for a wallet?
Yep, maybe men in their 20s.
Man in the 20s, and what really surprised me is that it was women.
Hmm.
Women, mostly married women. It was like 70%.
Wow.
Wait, why is that? Because December is a month where you gift your,
Ah.
right?
Hmm.
Yes, correct. So what are the things that you have to put on your content? How is that you're gonna think? You're gonna think like if you were a woman who's gonna gift a wallet to his man, to your man, right? So that's something. But here's the part. That works until February, and after, just until Valentine's Day, that you have this content where the woman is mostly buying your product. But after that, the trend goes down, the seasonality starts to go a little bit down, but most men are buying your product now for themselves. So you have to, so the images that says this is a perfect gift, it's a little bit outdated, right?
Mm.
Now after February, you have to change that, and you have to focus more on the man, on how he looks, on how he will perform the things that women like, the status, power. So those are the things that you have to focus until June, when it's Father's Day. And Father's Day, you have to address, some it's not children, but it's, for example, even me, some young adults especially, who want to give something to their parents, and how an older person in this case will look better. So this is very complex, and it's very beautiful, the data that you have, and many don't understand this. For example, there's another client who sell ring toss, a ring toss game. So what we just learned, and this is very recent, that's why I can remember, it's on top of my mind, that he made his content in December, and yeah, in December it's his peak of his sales. But what's going on now? That many people are finding his product, and here it comes the second part that you have to look. Many people are right now finding his product through one keyword, and it's outdoor games, jar games. So all the things that before was giving something, now it's outdoors. So even in the season, it changes, and it changes, and you can look at that. If you cannot find it through the demographics, you can find it through the keywords. And that's why, for example, having a good keyword research tool. For example, we use Jungle Scout, and it's really amazing how accurate it has been for us, at least. Um, and we recommend it to you as well. Use Jungle Scout if you can, to find what are the keywords depending on the seasonality. So maybe your product has something with others, then it changes, and then it changes with every season how people are looking for your product, and you have to adapt your content with that. And the last thing, so we have demographics, we have keywords, and the last thing is looking at your competitors too, because your competitors also have some insights, especially those who are on the top, both on the message that they're delivering and the reviews that you yourself and they have. What are the things you can run a review analysis? What are the things that people are looking or are valuing at my competitor's product? They're valuing these features specifically. For example, we learned that they value that from the competitors. They have a flip on the wallet, right? The minimalist wallet. It can, it's good for storing. Um, People repeat that a lot, that it's good for storing cash, right? And there are other competitors that it's not good. If we say, hey, ours is good too, we can put that on our content, right? And also on ours, on our own review. People also forget about this, but if you have enough data, you can run your own review and review analysis, and it will be really, really valuable as well to see what you have to highlight and what you don't. So those are the three primarily things that you will have to look to if you want to optimize your content.
Very cool. I like that a lot, actually. It's really interesting to have this seasonal content in batches like that. I've been speaking to a couple different people about that exact topic, just because, yeah, we had Father's Day just recently. Now we're starting to think about quarter 4 and Christmas, and Black Friday and Thanksgiving and New Year's and all this, right? And so there's like a question where, okay, you have content that's made specifically for every holiday. How many holidays? Like, can you go crazy and just, like, St. Patrick's Day and Martin Luther King Day or whatever? Like, these are U.S. holidays, and there's people are even outside of the U.S. are shopping, and so they have their, so there's a limit, right? Are you just maybe making batches of, instead of like specific for the holiday, it sounds like the keywords that you're looking at are more relative to who's buying the product versus why they're buying the product, in a way. So it's not necessarily Christmas themed, it's gift for him themes, right? And so that's the primary difference. Because I imagine, like, people are probably around Christmas time, they're going on Amazon and typing in best Christmas gifts for him 2024, right? And that's like a super long tail keyword, but probably very high search volume for that specific time. And so you're creating content, saving it like in a folder probably that says, like, okay, Christmas version, right? um what's the limitation that you guys would, like, kind of, all right, that's enough, we're not going to make more batches and more batches, because at some point it becomes like nominal, right? um yeah.
It does, absolutely. I understand. For example, in my case, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you create content for example, St. Patrick's Day, unless your product is important for example, St. Patrick's Day, and it's seasonal for that. So what really will determine it is your seasonality, right? And the seasonality of how people are looking for your product, how your customers change, right? All that is what you have to that. You just say it and you put it in very good words. If you It's the difference between just no, just because it's season it will look good, but the difference is that you want people to see at, for example, instead of a specific holiday, use specific keywords, for example, gift for him, so the content will vary on this feature specifically. Now
Hmm.
there are some even products that don't need this. Absolutely, they don't have any type of seasonality, and
Hmm.
they're very specific. So you don't really need to put a lot of content and change it when the season changes. It all will depend on your data, and we're really happy to help a lot as well. Here we have the QR code. If you can just put
Right.
the other frame,
Yeah.
we will also
Great.
have the yeah. Here we have the QR code as well, so that my team can also help you determine what those keywords are, what your seasonality is, and I will be there as well, to help you analyze all those things, and yes, so it will all depend. I wouldn't recommend doing like St. Patrick's, Valentine's, Christmas, then 5th July. Like all those things are okay as long as your keywords really determine it, right? If
Hmm.
your keywords really say like you have to do this because people are looking for you on I don't know, Valentine's gift. Of course, Valentine's is important. Then after that, what are people using to find your product, right?
Right.
That's important. We also have a case study on seasonality as well, and how we help the client crush it on Valentine's Day because um, he was selling couple games, and yeah, it was one of the best case studies that we also have.
Very cool. Yeah, I'd love to get a copy of that and check it out.
I
Um,
will send you.
awesome. I do have a question, based on what you were saying with the keywords. So how often are we going back in and looking at the keywords and just making these types of tweaks? Because there's another kind of debate that I'm always having with myself, my team. We're doing a lot of different testing, and I think A/B tests are great. I think they should be done consistently, but again, there's a point where it's too much and it's making nominal differences, and so you're really grinding your gears to try to make like small increases. So, how frequently do you guys go in and, let's say seasonality is not a factor, you're looking at the keywords from that time and saying, all right, it's time to make another change to the content. Let's make this keyword tweak or that keyword tweak or something like that, or even image tweak. So, like, how are you guys doing that kind of split testing? What kind of volume?
Do you mean frequency or do you mean how often? Well, I
Yeah,
think you mean frequency, right? How often we look at the data to determine when the. All right. Okay, I understand. So basically, we do that for our clients every month after we work with them. All right. So we every month we have a team. I am the leader of that team who looks at the data every month, and it's very quick. It's a very quick. I can even show you here. Let me see if I can show you an example. So basically, what you want is to go to your. Yeah, I can because I need to. Yeah, I need to be. Okay, so I'm gonna explain it very easily. You go to Business Analytics. You go to the menu. You go to Brand Analytics. There you will see YouTube brands, brand analytics. You will see search reports. You will see then the search query reports, and the search query report will give you for the last month, and you can do it in less than 15 minutes. It can give you your best performing keywords, right? So your best performing keywords for the last month. So if you see that, and you see, for example, you can give it a very quick look, and you see that you used to be forgiving for him, and then it's something related to outdoors suddenly. And of course, outdoors tends to be really, really. This is also something that we have seen with all our clients. Um, the term outdoors becomes very popular, especially um, in summer and um, in summer and in spring,
hmm
summer and spring, especially spring. So if you see that keyword is showing up, it's time to look at the data to see if there's something like that's going on. And you can also do a competitor analysis too to see what keywords they're ranking for. And suddenly they're ranking for this type of keywords. And you say like, hey, they were not these keywords weren't showing up, and now they're showing up. Like there's a trend here. We have to make a change, right? So that's usually the thing that you will see, and it will normally be accompanied with the seasons. That's like the most part because believe me, weather plays a role in most of the products. Especially yes, if you're selling something that is used um, and that can be used, for example, for outdoors, indoors, etc. So that's how we would recommend you to do it. It doesn't take you more than 15 minutes. I wouldn't say even 5 minutes, maybe the first time, since you're not used to the platform, to look up where it is. But it's really easy. So just give it a quick look. If you see something that is really interesting, go deeper in there, and then you will determine whether you need a change or not.
awesome. So this week I was speaking on a webinar, and I was actually told by the host. Her name is Isabella Ritz, and she attended BDSS, and somehow she was listening to one of the speakers at PackView, and that's actually a tool that we use for advertising. And PackView, they own Helium 10. They have access to tons of data, and according to them, so this is passed down from PackView's observation to the audience, and now Isabella passed it to me. So here I am. So it's but this is basically what they're finding is that companies and brands that are putting holiday themes on their product during holiday times, because people are in the mood. Like, for example, let's say Christmas. People are in the holiday spirit and Christmas spirit, right? They're in their car listening to jingle bells, and then they go on Amazon and they remember that they need to buy that Phillips head screwdriver. If that Phillips head screwdriver has a Christmas theme, they're going to be more likely to buy that one just because they like Christmas and they feel the, the vibe. So there's like funny things like that. To me, it's funny, but it's actually real because it translates into real increases in sales, right? There's little things like that can make a significant impact. Is just like the extra effort. I think most sellers probably don't have a 10 out of 10 listing as is. And if you're doing things like that, where you're making those types of holiday modifications just for like a limited time period, which is a significant time period, depending on the size of the account, I think that's what really matters. But that's like an 11 out of 10 listing when you're doing things like that. So I just found that kind of interesting and kind of funny at the same time. So then it's also like it was the same question: where is the limit for that? So I think there's probably like statistically like a couple key holidays that everybody shops at. Like for me, Christmas and Thanksgiving, Black Friday, I think it's really worth it. If anything else, then quarter four, just go all out. Do like, pick your top five bestsellers, get your graphics team or a shared studio and tell them like, guys, do like two or three different, batches of content for these top five bestsellers. And let's just upload it during, that time. So Thanksgiving, Cyber Monday, Christmas, and then New Year's, right? Something like that.
Absolutely, yes. In fact, that is yes, that is a good approach. Since Christmas, for example, for Christmas and for most others, most categories, Christmas will be like one of the of your peak in your sales, right? For most, there are, as I said, there are some products that don't have any type of seasonality. That's okay, but for most, you will see a good peak on December, right? Unless you sell, for example, gnomes, which is a client, also friend of us. You sell gnomes for garden gnomes, and nobody buys because it's winter, right? So
Right.
December is actually her worst um, month. So you always have to look at the data. And yes, in case Christmas is a very related keyword to you, and it's a very important keyword to you, optimizing it and putting in a Christmas theme is also good. You know what's even better? If you can, and I do recommend this specifically, if you can do sponsor brand ads videos, themed, right? Themed sponsor brand ads videos.
Yeah.
So that's something that also works well that we've seen, you know,
Right.
before 1 week and 2 days after we put it in this theme.
It's
People really
signaling to people because a lot of people are on Amazon looking for gifts, and if you're like putting snowflakes and Santa Claus and the reindeer, and people are just like, these people really are trying to say that this is a great gift idea. And so it just makes you feel like, okay, it's a good option, because when you're thinking of gifts, you almost want to be told that this is a good gift, right? It's like psychologically, you're just trying to please somebody or make them happy, or, give them something that's meaningful. And you don't know if it's like, dude, is this a good Christmas gift or is not appropriate? You kind of don't know. So if you feel like the seller is trying to say that, yes, this is an appropriate Christmas gift, as long as it really is. I mean, some things are probably not appropriate Christmas gifts, but if it makes sense, then I think that's a good way to do it. And having the paid side behind it, I mean, that just really just accelerates things. For the sake of time, I do have one more question. And this is another thing where we've been kind of discussing internally and having conversations with other people about this. It's like the concept of branding as a whole on Amazon. So 5 years back, Amazon used to be a place where you just come on and there's all this listings to choose from. It was just an aggregator of listings. Now Amazon has released all these different tools for people to start trying to bring branding into the platform more. So posts is one thing, and then having premium A plus, so like brand story and all of these like elements are kind of signaling to the sellers like you want to have a brand presence. But at the same time, there's millions of brands out there. So it's very unlikely even a seven-figure seller on Amazon might be completely unknown to the rest of the world. They just exist on Amazon alone. There's many things like that. So I think the definition of a brand has changed because of like this magnitude of competition, and because most brands are actually pretty small. So I guess what's your perspective on how branding actually operates Is it really just having parallel content in terms of like the pattern recognition? It looks the same across all the listings, the storefront and the website and all of that, or is there something more to branding? How do you guys kind of see that?
Yes, branding is maybe the most important, and sometimes the thing that people used to get really, like, it's just pattern recognition, like, that you have the same color and the same thing. Branding is way more like that, like, for real. If you want people to recognize your brand, it's not as easy as just putting in the same design, the same colors, and everything. Like, there's a whole science behind, and the most important thing that will bring your brand, if you're only, because there are so many tools, for example, that you can use, also social media, have influencers to promote your brand. That's something, of course, very good in terms of branding. But at the end of the day, if um, if you want a sustainable product, if you want a sustainable brand, everything will come up to the quality of your product, right? So sometimes people get it wrong, and I know Isabella too. She's a very good friend of us, by the way,
Hmm.
and she's very, we've had also some talks with her, um, and she sees a lot on your personalization of the product. Like, that's something that she always says, and it's something that she repeats a lot, and we too, because we have seen it with our clients. If your product is something that really brings value to your customers, more value than they really expected, they're gonna have a good reputation of your brand, of your products, and they will always buy back from you, even if you launch another product. So that's the first thing. You need to have a good reputation, and the only way that you're gonna have a good reputation is by having a good product. Um, a product, not a good product, an outstanding product, an outstanding offer, right? And the second thing would be, to also, and this comes very simple, what your brand is related to, right? And that's why influencers play a key part here. Um, if there's a new platform that Amazon just launched called Amazon Creator Connections, where you can find Amazon influencers um, who target your niche specifically, and you can negotiate with them to also have their name and their reputation, match with yours, which is what you really want, for at least for the branding side. Um, and yes, if you're just only selling a product, you're doomed to fail eventually, because it will become a pricing competition. If you don't build a brand that people stand out, that you can charge even more, because that's what branding is. Branding allows you to charge more for your product. Branding allows you to have better ACOS, have better conversion rates, because people can recognize your brand, and people are willing to buy a little bit extra from you to make sure they will really receive the um, the value or the thing that they promised, right? Or that they really want, that solution for the problem. So yes, I would say those are two pillars: how what your product is matched with, and how your product is good and it's building a reputation in the long term.
Amazing. Fully agree with that. Yeah. I think when it comes to offering something at a higher price, that's exactly what we're seeing. So, like, we would have somebody that is selling something from China that looks identical to everybody else's, but their listing looks so good. And they have TikTok and they have people talking about them, the influencers, and they have all this other things going on. And so people start to recognize the name. And so when they come and they're looking for this solution, they're the ones that stand out. So they're more expensive, right? But they look the best. And then you go on social media and you look them up and you see that like, a lot of people, there's a lot of buzz going on. So it kind of goes both ways. There's like this discovery thing, and then there's like the reinforcement of the value. So I think that it's a very good point. Andrew, I want to thank you for your time today and joining and sharing these nuggets of gold, nuggets of wisdom from the content side. You guys are clearly specialists, and this is what you do on a daily basis. So I'm very thankful that you came on. Do you have any last comments or words that you wanted to share with the audience before we end the stream?
Yes. So please, always we want to give you all the value that we have. We are really happy to help you all, achieve your goals too. So if you want to book a complimentary call with us, to help you and to talk with you, so just scan this QR code, and yes, we can talk with you. And if you want to talk with me, just tell Diego, who is probably going to talk with you, to reach out to me too.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew, and thanks everyone for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.